One of the unique features of Liquid Radiance is the fact that when it's dry, it's stable. This is a piece we've opened up just a wee while ago. And I can dunk that in water and absolutely no colour has come out of that at all. All I have is a piece of wet fabric. However, we do recommend that you iron Liquid Radiance to heat set it. The ironing actually prolongs the life of the colour in the fabric. It maximises the washability and ironability of your fabrics. You will find that when you've coloured your fabrics by a lot of the techniques, they will actually feel a lot stiffer and look less drapey than they were to start off with. So here we have a piece of silk and a piece of coloured silk. This is not a concern because when you iron your fabric to heat set it, that will de-stress the fibres. It's just a unique property of Liquid Radiance. That will de-stress the fibres and bring back the softness and the feel of that fabric. If, however, the fabric has not come back to its softness after ironing, that's you, not it. And that's why I've been emphasising that excess is the enemy. If you put too much into the fibre, the excess will actually stiffen it. If you put just the right amount in, you won't lose any of the feel or fall of the fabric that you're working on. When you have a piece of cotton that's really scrunched up, it's very difficult to iron unless we do the spray, stretch and iron bit. And this is what I recommend for all of your fabrics really. Give it a light spray with water, stretch it out, and you're going to iron your fabrics on a temperature on your iron that's suitable for that fabric. Back side, front side, it really doesn't matter. The way I see the fabrics anyway is that, well, there's no real right or wrong side. It's the side you like best that's going to be the side that you use in your project. So here we are ironing the right side where you get more contrast because that was where the dark was at the surface on our air exclusion technique. Iron set on a temperature for the fabric that you're working on, stretch it out, and for the heat setting process, a half a minute for really strong colour, up to 2 minutes for really pale colour, and your fabric is heat set. Now we've got some beautifully salted fabrics. The salt has done its work, the fabric is dry, and it's time to take the salt off. But we don't want to make a mess while we're doing this. So the easiest way is to actually pull up the corners of your fabric when you've got light salty techniques like our fold, spot and scrunch that we salted. I'm just working that down so it's actually brushing the salt off. That salt can be reused, but Epsom salts is wonderful on your garden. Your garden will love you for it if you want to give it to the garden. That's then just shaken off. You can actually reuse it too. And from here on, even though the physical salt has been removed, we still need to rinse that fabric to remove any remaining saltiness from where the salt has been sitting. So that gets dunked into a container of water. Now, an interesting feature of Liquid Radiance is when it's dry in the fabric, it is stable. You can't move it and you can't remove it. So although I'm dunking that in water now, there's been absolutely no colour come off. That's the unique nature of the product we're working with. Now that I've given that a single rinse, we've got salty water in there. So I need to give it a second rinse and maybe a third rinse so that we can get the salt out totally. We don't want to be putting salt all over our iron or ironing board when we're ironing the fabrics, and we certainly don't want to put it through our sewing machines. So those extra couple of rinses are really quite important. I just love desalting the salt mountains. We're going to do this one slightly differently. We're going to actually pull all the salt into the middle of the fabric, no matter what the size of the fabric. And now we can see that beautiful pattern where all the salt has been sitting. Let's just quickly pull off the last of it. Yes. If that salt is quite dry, and it will be in dry sunny weather, you can put that straight back into your container, and of course we're going to reuse that salt over and over again. However, if it's a little bit damp because it's pulled in moisture from the atmosphere, and it can, it's a good idea to just pop it out in the sun to dry. On a blackboard it'll be dry in no time flat, or you can pop it in the oven as well. And again, we're going to rinse that in the same way as we rinsed our earlier piece. When you've been working with salt mountains, there's been a lot of salt there and a lot of salt pulling the colour to it. You may get, with all that saltiness, a little bit of colour, loose colour, sitting around the salt. So don't be concerned if you get a little bit of colour coming out into your water during this process. That's quite normal, provided your fabric has been totally dry before you take the salt off.